This is The Minimum Commitment, film theory in small doses. Some cities can make people feel invisible. Millions of lives moving past each other beneath fluorescent light and digital screens. Conversations reduced to transactions. Human connection replaced by motion. Eventually, people stop perceiving each other as individuals. I'm Don Lawler, film scholar, sound obsessive, and someone interested in stories where modern life becomes so fragmented that morality itself starts to feel distant. Let's get into it. Collateral by Michael Mann opens with movement. People rushing through airports. Escalators carry strangers past one another. Lives intersecting for seconds before disappearing again. And then Michael Mann quietly introduces Max, played by Jamie Foxx. Max drives a cab. And as he drives out of the garage, a massive mural stretches across the wall behind him. A cowboy scene of cubist intent. The image feels almost mythological. For a brief moment, Max resembles an older American archetype. The lone rider. The moral traveler. The Western hero entering unfamiliar territory. But Mann immediately places that image inside modern Los Angeles, where there is traffic and economic routine. The myth collapses into infrastructure. And that contradiction becomes central to the film. The film is built around modern life's strange failure of closeness. People occupy the same spaces while remaining separate from one another. Max's taxicab becomes the perfect symbol of that condition. People enter, talk temporarily, then disappear back into the city. Motion replaces intimacy. Postmodernism often explores what happens when human connection begins to dissolve inside modern systems. Cities grow larger, technology moves faster, and people drift through life in close proximity without ever really touching. Eventually, emotional detachment starts to feel ordinary. This film is built around that pressure. Los Angeles in this film feels fragmented. Office towers glow against black skies. Streets stretch into darkness. Freeways cut through the city like moving lines of force. And the city itself seems to exist in a state of constant motion, even when the people inside it feel emotionally suspended. Vincent, played by Tom Cruise, understands that condition perfectly. His speech about Los Angeles effectively becomes the film's thesis statement.
First time in LA?
No. Tell you the truth, whenever I'm here, I can't wait to leave. Sprawled out, disconnected. That's me. You like it?
It's my home.
17 million people. This is a country, the fifth biggest economy in the world, and nobody knows each other.
Millions of people. One of the world's largest economies, yet nobody truly knows anybody else. To Vincent, people have become statistical noise. That is what makes him so terrifying. Not simply that he kills people, but he experiences almost no emotional relationship to the act itself. Michael Mann builds Vincent and Max as opposites. Max wears dark clothing, dark hair, and a reserved posture. Vincent appears in gray with white hair and cold professionalism. One man avoids conflict entirely. The other has built his entire identity around violence. Even the taxicab matters. Bright and artificial, moving endlessly through the city at night. It traps these opposing identities together inside a confined space where neither man can fully escape the other. And Michael Mann reinforces the tension through framing. Much of the film positions Max on the right side of the frame and Vincent on the left, as though the image itself is holding a moral arrangement in place. Then later, when Max finally turns his anger toward Vincent, the framing shifts. Max moves left, Vincent moves right. The visual language destabilizes, and for a brief moment, the boundaries separating them begin to collapse. This is when the film quietly asks one of its most uncomfortable questions. How different are these two men, really? At first, Max seems more morally grounded than Vincent. But the film slowly reveals a quieter form of paralysis beneath him. He keeps talking about the future, the limousine company, the island brochure, the plans that never quite become action. His life exists almost entirely in rehearsal. Planning replaces living. Simulation replaces movement. That is deeply postmodern. Modern systems can create the illusion of progress while people remain emotionally suspended inside them. And Mann reinforces that feeling throughout the film. Max drives constantly, yet he never seems to arrive anywhere. The city moves around him while his life remains stuck in place. That is what makes Vincent psychologically dangerous to Max. Not only because Vincent threatens his life, but because he forces Max to confront the possibility that he has mistaken routine for existence itself. Collateral may be one of the most important films ever made about urban loneliness. Mann's high-definition photography changed the way nighttime cities could look on screen. Unlike his previous film, Heat, the city no longer feels romantic or noir-inflected. It feels exposed, hyper-visible. The digital image captures Los Angeles almost clinically. Michael Mann answers that coldness by filling those spaces with murals, large painted figures, explosions of color, human images stretched across concrete walls. They do not warm the city exactly, but they insist on a human presence inside it. In Collateral, as in Mann's other films, Miami Vice and Manhunter, those murals function like emotional architecture. He introduces mural imagery as a humanizing counter-presence inside spaces that otherwise read as system, surface, and transit. That gives the murals a job in the argument. They interpret the city's clinical feel with figures, gestures, and visual memory. Then the film pauses. A coyote crosses the street beneath the city lights. No conversation, no violence, just silence. The moment feels almost spiritual inside a film dominated by machinery and drift. The coyote moves naturally through the city while the human beings surrounding it remain strangely cut off from their own environment. Mann lingers there quietly, as though the film itself briefly remembers what stillness feels like. For a few seconds, the city no longer feels artificial. Then the moment disappears. Traffic returns, motion resumes, and the film's emotional temperature settles back into its colder register. Collateral is not really about a hitman. It is about emotional fragmentation inside modern systems. Vincent represents a version of urban life where people become statistics, drifting through enormous cities without connection or consequence. He is not just a victim of the city's indifference in the abstract. He has already described that condition himself, telling a story about a man who dies unnoticed on the subway, as if the city can absorb a corpse without interruption. By the end, that logic turns back on him. When he asks whether anyone will recognize his body, the film gives his own worldview a strange, tragic symmetry. The man who treated human beings as temporary now becomes one more temporary body within the system. Max represents the quieter tragedy. A man postponing life until eventually he no longer knows how to live it at all. And through digital photography, fractured conversations, reflections, and endless nighttime movement, Michael Mann creates one of the coldest portraits of modern alienation ever put on film. In Collateral, the city never stops moving, but Mann filters that motion through Vincent's cynical eye. And so Los Angeles becomes less a condemnation and more like a pressure chamber, a place where systems outgrow intimacy. And emotionally, almost everyone inside it is already standing still. That's your thought for the day. Minimum commitment, maximum meaning. See you next time. The Minimum Commitment is produced, recorded, and edited by Don Lawler. Music by Out of Flux.